Greetings, my friend. Welcome to the Secret Shop.
Hello and welcome to the Secret Shop podcast. It has been a very long time. Let's see if I can remember your names. Anga, was it? How have you been?
Hello. I've been very good. Just been enjoying Christmas with the family.
Same actually, which is very lucky considering the lockdown in my country, which went into effect a day after I arrived.
Oh.
Wow, cutting it close.
Yeah. KIWI, how did your holidays go?
All my plans got cancelled because things are not so great here. But they're okay anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty chill.
What were you going to say, Anga? Exactly.
I can't remember. It was really weird with just a little bit of my family, because usually it's my whole half of the family, because my parents are divorced. But it was like my cousins and my aunt wasn't there, which was really weird. Like just having fewer people for Christmas around the table.
Right. Yeah, Christmas.
It was a really weird experience.
Yeah, I mean, this entire year has been a weird experience for a lot of people. So, and the holidays just hit that much harder, don't they?
Yeah.
Like when the family can't quite be together and so on. I hope everyone has enjoyed their holidays either way. What have you guys been up to aside from the holidays? Anga, I saw that you went back to streaming more often.
Yeah. I've been streaming Underlords. I never thought I would return to that game. But
what caused that? I was surprised as well.
I can't remember. I just started playing a little bit, and then I just wanted to play a lot.
You just
have you been playing
itch.
Duos or mostly solo?
Both. I've been playing some duos, but mostly solos.
Nice.
I'm still not good. Like I've been playing so much, but I'm still not good at the game.
I know,
I'm still
I've been
not
watching.
Lord. I'm like Big Boss 3 or 4, I think.
That's pretty close.
Yeah,
You'll
it's
get
close. But
You're
I
like
never
so much
got
better
there.
than before. I've been watching some. It almost
Yeah?
made me want to play. Yeah, I lurk sometimes.
I never got good at that game. I honestly, I think there's no game that I tried harder to like than Underlords.
Really?
It's not about being good. It's just like Underlords is just a chill game to play and.
Yeah, but I think it just it tickles the wrong spots in my brain, basically. It was just.
You're not a fan of
me,
RNG.
True, I'm also not a fan of RNG. I'm the sort of person who feels entitled by the chances. I'm like, nobody's going knights. Where's my knights? Are you kidding me? Yeah. So that's just brain poison for me, unfortunately. I'm glad that there's still people enjoying the game, and I am sure that Valve has not completely given up on it. I'm sure that at some point...
How are you sure of that? We'll see. They're a pretty unhappy community themselves.
Yes, but that's just... I mean, there are other communities equally unhappy. I mean, the Artifact subreddit recently went full Doomer mode once again.
Oh, really? Like what?
Pretty much.
It doesn't make any sense to me after the recent post.
As at least after the recent post, there's been a little bit of a shift, but it basically went into the two directions of, did Artifact really need that many changes? And then the other one where it's like,
are they complaining
more
there's
changes.
too much changes?
Exactly. Yeah, there's people who basically, because this was one of the more high caliber posts in a very long time, especially for those who hadn't been paying attention to how the beta has been patched over the last couple months. There were people who really thought there were only small balance patches going on. They sort of missed all the other changes that we'll be going over shortly, so we can catch up our audience as well. Because something that I've realized in the last couple weeks is that people have really not been keeping up with the game on, the side of Reddit and, other communities as well. I personally got pretty immersed in the Discord community of 2.0, which is where most of the active testers of the game have gone, and they are constantly posting opinions, feedback, and discussions pop up regularly. And
is it lively on a daily basis?
Honestly, yeah. Like, there's people on there who post daily, definitely. And the devs come in there fairly frequently as well. So whenever people post that they have disappeared after the Moon Day posts, just didn't find the right avenue, perhaps. I know that the two of you have not been keeping up as actively as before as well, but I think a lot of people felt that way because there was a bit of a drought in between patches.
Personally, I've been I took a step back for now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I want to be involved when there's a larger community, and that's not there right now, and so I'm just gonna wait for a bit. But I'll be there when it's going.
Yeah.
And this recent post got me really excited and was nice to see. I took a few months off gaming altogether. Haven't been streaming much either. Dota's calling me back, and I'm doing my best to avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah. The sirens call. It's just.
Have you been actually playing Dota or just thinking about it?
No, I was playing Slay the Spire for a bit the last month or so and streaming it, and really enjoying that. Finally, all the Artifact people always wanted me to play. And then I've played a couple Dota games this week, and the new patch looks good, but I'm avoiding it.
Have you tried a new hero?
Nope, not yet.
What do you think of it?
Really?
She looks a little bit like Wind Ranger and isn't particularly exciting, and will definitely need some balancing things, but...
I mean, yeah. They've already started balancing. I mean, there's already an A version of the patch. Like, there's already been a massive balancing patch.
For sure.
She's been adjusted as well.
All the last few heroes that came out went through 5 or 6 nerfs before they were anywhere near balanced.
Because that's how Valve generally balances. They spoke about this publicly as well. It's much easier to balance when you know that you have purposefully overtuned a hero, so you know which direction you gotta go. If you try to balance it the first time around, you're gonna have people saying, oh my god, that ability is OP, and the other person is gonna be like, nah, that's actually underpowered, because nobody knows whether the hero should be, more damage-based or utility-based, and everyone has a different idea of what it should be. So it's easier to just give everything too much damage and then just go from there.
For sure. If they're too weak, then nobody plays them either, and so they don't get an accurate representation of it either.
Yeah.
Also,
Valve even people are disabled banning for the first 24 hours. You couldn't ban the new hero.
People are really bad at new heroes anyway, so it's like almost an auto lose on your team anyway, just even if it's vaguely different playstyle. So it's not really an issue if they're overstrong, because it takes people a while to understand the strengths of the hero anyway.
However, Valve has been investing more and more into Dota. Like months ago we spoke about how impressive we thought the Battle Pass was, and then they had the return of Diatide.
Yeah.
That was unexpected. Even with the trailer, I was blown away.
Did you two play much?
I played one game. I didn't like it.
Really?
I did about the same.
I played that quite a bit until I realized that I could just be playing regular games and get candy as well.
Wait,
because
what?
Well, you could collect candy, and 100 candies would transform into some random diatide reward.
You can collect
I missed
candy
out
in regular games?
You would be rewarded with candy points at the end of the game. There wouldn't be candy popping up in a regular Dota game or something.
We picked a
But
bad
you
month not to play Dota, Anger.
Yeah.
Apparently. I've had a lot of fun with it, aside from my ride to Elo Hell, which I had not previously believed in, and I know I shouldn't either. I shouldn't believe in it now either. But,
still struggling, huh?
Yeah,
I'll have to do some lessons, maybe.
Perhaps, yes. Or maybe just boost me. Come on. No.
Not a fucking chance.
Oh, man.
We can do some coaching sessions if you're really upset about it.
I am really upset about it, but we'll see how far my pride takes me.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, while all of that has been happening in Dota, with like Dota Plus update and Diatide and now the Hoodwink update and another hero confirmed early next year, I am wondering how much of that will spill over to Artifact. But perhaps the game isn't quite there yet. I'm sure that it will get the biggest push once the polishing is there, which was confirmed by the blog post, which we will get to in just a second.
What do you think? Can I jump in here? What do you think the odds are that one of the next couple Dota heroes is an Artifact character or an Underlord's character? Like, do you think there's going to be more overlap than we have already? Because the comics kind of seem to allude to it in...
Yeah.
Like, the comics have a lot of overlap, and they were doing comics with releases, so...
I think there will be more overlap in the future. They they've been dropping names for a while now, and I'm actually surprised. Like Vanessa, for example, has been increasing in popularity over in the Dota 2 community as well. Like ever since that comic dropped for the Queen of Pain Arcana, people have been posting the Artifact art on the Dota sub, and people were quite positive about it. The new art, yes.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
It's such good art. All the art is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. The art is... And I actually have a snippet of information about that. I went snooping because Valve actually gave the artists credit on Twitter. So I looked around some of the artists, and they were very excited that their art was finally being shared. And I looked around and asked some questions, because I actually expected that some of them would say, oh, I drew this like 2 years ago for the first expansion. I'm so happy. But no, I actually saw some examples where they said, oh, no, I drew this just a couple months back.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
Valve is contracting artists to draw more Artifact art as we speak, which is very exciting to me. They're not just looking into the trove of art, which I assume they have. They are also getting new stuff.
We've seen some of the trove, too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like, some of the new art, which was already in the 2.0 beta, must have come from that, treasure trove of art from the past, perhaps. But yeah, a lot of the art that has been put into the game just a couple days back is fairly new. It's all fairly recent. That's exciting. Especially because there's always some people who think that Valve is keeping this like super low key, meaning they are not investing much, but people really underestimate how much Valve developers are being paid on a monthly basis. Like, with every month that 2.0 is being developed, there's like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars being poured into this project. For sure.
Yeah. About artifact heroes in Dota, I think there's two like heroes that are hinted at in the Dota files that are very similar. Like for example, there's a new hero called Valkyrie, and especially with the new art of what's her name, Imperia.
Yeah.
And a lot of voice lines
Gorgeous.
do hint that maybe it could be Imperia.
They're like the same character.
No, they're not necessarily, but there's some hints that indicate that. And then there's also like a big beast dog-like character. That's or at least previously I thought could be Rix, but now with the new Hoodwink voice line, it seems like it's gonna be Fenris instead, like from Norse mythology.
Yeah, Fenrir.
Yeah, Fenrir.
Yeah. Apparently, because people are saying that Valve might have had a huge surprise planned for TI in Stockholm to keep everything like kind of Norse based with Fenrir, Valkyrie, and Gleipnir, which is one of the new items that was just
That
put
would
into
have been
Dota.
really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the theories. They could still do it, I suppose. Like, people have pointed out that the internal hero numbers seem to be mixed up. So it looks like, when it comes to releases, so it seems like they gave some heroes an earlier release than others that were meant to have released already. At least that's something
So
that
there's
I've
more
heard.
going on behind the scenes than we're aware of.
I mean, Valve is already saying that there's several heroes planned for next year. So I'm excited about that. But yeah,
Thank
don't know
God they need to make up
Valkyrie-
for Hoodwink, because that was such a fucking disappointment.
some people have said that.
I think
yeah.
it's the worst new hero yet. I don't think I've ever seen anything worse.
Is her lore interesting?
Nah.
No,
It's
Okay,
basically Australia.
That answers.
yeah,
Just-
she's like a New Zealander.
Yeah, New
apparently.
Zealand,
She's
sorry.
a Kiwi.
Giving Kiwi's a bad name.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
think-
Her lore is just basically that they used to live in this lush forest or whatever.
In the
and
Outlands,
then,
correct?
Huh?
In the Outlands, correct?
I read that part, but I mean, like, is there any links to it in relation to other Dota lore, or like interesting leads on anything?
I haven't really, because I've been away. I went away the day
Okay.
after she came out, so I haven't dug that much. But maybe CYMEN knows.
I believe that Hoodwink does not get along with God.
Oh yeah, because she was the one who introduced the gunfire or the black powder.
Yeah, something like that. And because Hoodwink is also from the Outlands, if I remember correctly. The Outlands being like, you know, basically the Outlands are the idea that there's basically at least like a whole undiscovered continent out there, at least from, you know, the perspective that we have learned from the Dota world thus far, that like beyond the desert, beyond the swamps, there's this whole new country with all sorts of critters that we can look forward to. So that's where Hoodwink comes from as well, apparently, and at least when it comes to like animation, I'm actually quite fond of her. Like, she moves in a very unique way, and I find her charming enough. Like, she doesn't bring too much new in terms of her playstyle is also very close to Windranger and some other heroes right now, but I think she will still find her own niche.
Yeah, I don't know. She just feels uninspired, unpassionate.
Her ult,
I don't know.
Her
She
ult
just
is really
feels
fun though.
like
Yeah.
a filler
Right.
character.
Not particularly interesting.
I think her ult
Yeah.
is really fun.
Or
and
unique.
I've seen some really nice combos with the trees and Timbersaw, all that kind of stuff. I think there's potential.
I think she'll find a role as a 4 position. But, like, yeah, you say the alt is fun, but it's not fun to play against is the impression I get. I don't know. She just seemed... Compared to all the last few heroes we've had, like, they've all added a lot of flavor to the game, and it doesn't feel like she quite does that.
It feels a little bit like Grimstroke, although he had a much more interesting self-contained story connected with him. And she has...
Yeah, Grimstroke's lore was sick.
And yeah, Hoodwink just has this little anecdote of people coming to recruit her, and then she declines, kills them, hunts them down. All that kind of cute but dangerous twist, you know? So yeah, lots of action happening in the Dotaverse. So let's move on to the huge blog post state of the beta, which a lot of people have misunderstood, but we'll get into that. What I find funny is that they basically start with a quick recap of what the beta has accomplished so far, because as I said, like, some people had the impression that literally nothing has happened in the last half year that we've been in beta, and that's quite far from the truth. Once again, like, some people want more changes, other people think the game has changed too much, but we're going for a different audience here. I think that is clear.
There's no way to make everybody happy anyway, and people are going to be vocal about it regardless, so I don't think it's really relevant. And it's nice to see it all summed up where, like, you forget about some of the small changes, but when it's all listed, they've done quite a bit, actually.
I mean, they have cleaned up mechanics so much as well. Like, everything that was previously battle damage, and then strike came in as a keyword, and physical damage, and so on. And that was just like the first phase. As they said, since then they have, like, increased the strength and impact of heroes across the board. They've made several passes on card design. They added ranked play. They added hero demo puzzles. Have you guys looked at those at all?
I haven't, but I heard they're good. I'm excited to play them. I'm kind of saving them.
I think these are because what people seem to be forgetting is that new player experience is more than tutorial. It's basically everything that the game does to teach people mechanics or to just ease the learning curve a little bit. And these hero demos are definitely one of the stronger parts of this. I had not even considered a feature like this. Basically, you go into the card collection, and when you click on a hero, there's a little button to enter a hero demo, which takes you into, like, a pre-made little puzzle where you're meant to use their card and use their ability to, best effect. Usually to win within that round or the next round, or just clear the board.
And you see the strengths of the hero? How many of them are there?
By now, I think almost every hero is covered. Like, they've been adding, adding more every week since they introduced them, basically.
That's amazing. So heroes that are less intuitive, there will be a puzzle that people can go and try and be like, oh, okay, and now I understand what the intention behind this is.
That's great, because I still don't know fully what Rubik does.
Yoink.
Also, like, the devs can have very different ideas of intent than what the players come up with too, and so seeing a given perspective is really interesting to do as well, especially once you've already tried them.
I still remember when they added the first ones, because there wasn't really an end to it. It would just load you into this map, basically, and it wouldn't end. It was kind of awkward, and some heroes had a very clear goal for the demo puzzle, and others were more like a sandbox, where it's like, hey, look how far Magnus can go. But Yeah, I mean, they redid those as well. Now almost every hero demo puzzle has like a very clear goal to work towards generally. Yeah.
I really like that. I don't think it'll make that big of a difference for people that have like played or are familiar with card games, but for any new player, that's enormous. It's such a big
I mean,
thing.
it's really just something that you're supposed to do once, once or twice, and then you've got it, and you'll never click on that button again. But it is still immensely important, I think. And
it's also like like a goal that people can have. So like lots of people, especially when they're in a new genre, they're uncomfortable going onto ladder or playing against other people, and bots get boring. But like maybe they'll work on that issue. But having like a project to work on and to work through is great. If there's however many heroes there are, to do a puzzle for each one, that's really good to just keep people involved and interested and learning.
And this ties into progression as well. Like, you can just make a couple welcome progression quests or something, where it's like finish all Red Heroes demo puzzles or something, right? Just to...
Yeah, or play 5 hero demos this week.
Yeah, at least for the beginners and so on. They're definitely working on progression as well. They've said so. And, I mean, since this blog post, they actually already shipped the tutorial. We're about to talk about that as well, but let's just finish what they actually worked on. So after apart from the hero demo puzzles, they also updated the UI. Everything, the cards look sleeker now, and they actually removed the hero item grid, like the inventory slots, basically. Those are gone. They now, item icons now just appear on the card like an ability. I'm sure that will get cleaned up more, because right now you can...
So it's not confusing.
Right now, they changed it, where rather than having like one weapon, one armor item, one health item, you can have 2 items of any type, as long as those 2 items are unique. So you can't just stack 2 rings of Tarask or something on top of each other. But you can...
I really like this system. Like, when you compare Artifact to Dota, there's no reason why they would lock us into specific items. And it made it a little bit inflexible, and maybe there's some balance changes that need to happen as a result of it. But I think the freedom is good, whereas the forced items was unintuitive.
Yeah. And now you, when you want to play a third item on top of them, you can choose which of the already equipped items to bounce back into your hand. There's definitely UI improvements happening, and they actually included a picture of what the UI and the board may look like in the future. However, just looking at the skill descriptions in that picture, as well as some of the numbers and so on, that seems to be an older concept. So I'm sure they've already updated beyond that as well. But I'm definitely
constantly working on stuff.
But I'm definitely happy that you see more of the hero art now. And the cards definitely look nicer, at least to me. They look very shiny.
There's less clutter for sure.
And clutter is something that really makes the game look unattractive when there's like 3 boards going on. So I can understand why they're like cleaning up the sleeves of the heroes and so on. But that's not all they've done. Like, that's just some of the recent ones. They have redone shop rules during the beta. They have experimented with multicolor kicker cards. And they have changed the casting rules as well, which is something I'd like to talk about next. Previously, you could only cast a color if there's a hero of that color in the lane and that hero isn't currently disabled in any way, like stunned or silenced. But now it doesn't actually matter if one hero in the lane is stunned or silenced. Even a green hero can now cast a blue card as long as there's a blue hero still in the lane, whether that hero is disabled or not.
So if you have two heroes, they both have to be disabled to stop cards being played?
Exactly. I'm sure this will... I still consider this to be an experiment. I think this will still get adjusted some. The biggest impact this has had, at least in my anecdotal experience, is one, it has opened up deck building a lot. You feel less restricted by where you put your heroes, though you can argue that this was also one of the greatest skills in Artifact and part of the appeal. And the other thing it has done is it made single target disables less valuable, much less valuable, because now that doesn't actually lock them out of that color as long as there's another caster in the lane. But it made disables that disable more than one unit more valuable. And for example, as a response to this, they buffed Drow's silencing wave by being able to cast it on empty slots. So if there's like an awkward case where like there's two heroes in the lane and they're divided by an empty slot rather than a creep or some other unit, you can click on the empty slot and they'll still both get silenced. So there's been many.
Cool. It sounds like just different and maybe some balance adjustments necessary, but not worse or better.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it's better but not worse, just because it's different.
I really hope it's just an experiment, because I don't really like that you can, if a hero is disabled or silenced, it makes no sense that you should be able to play the color of the hero. I don't know, it's just unintuitive to me.
You still only have 5 heroes though, so lots of lanes are only going to have one hero, or if you kill a hero there will likely only be one hero in a lane, and so the stuns will still be effective. They're just certain situations where they don't, and so if you have 3 heroes in a lane, it's a lot harder to get locked out of. I think it's
weird.
More different and unfamiliar, and I don't think in the scheme of things when we play that it'll feel that different or work. I would be surprised if we dislike it over
It's
time.
just meant to encourage heroes being paired up. Because there was an issue where just mono decks were way more popular. First it was like mono blue, then it was mono green and mono red. Just monos were way stronger than any duo deck. So they were... Yeah,
and now this makes it
they were constantly
more
looking for solutions for that.
Yeah, that's true.
The kicker cards were the first. Kicker cards, the multicolor cards, were the first attempt at solving that.
I think it'll make the meta much more flexible and interesting overall as a change from this.
And there have been community tournaments as well. Sorry.
Being limited in archetypes is really uninteresting, where the top level of play could not viably play 2-color decks. Like, there were a couple, but the meta had eventually boiled down to only monocolor decks, and that, like, there are so many archetypes in Artifact that we can build, but they just didn't become viable because of casting rules. And so, like, inherently, initially I hate the idea of being able to cast cards of other colors. Like, that doesn't appeal to me either, because I'm like, oh, that's not the Artifact we know and love, and that's easier. But I think it will still end up being the same in many situations, and it'll open up many archetypes, I would imagine. Maybe it hasn't quite yet, or hasn't got there yet, but I can see this being an enormous benefit in time.
And it's really only counterintuitive to people who are used to the old rules. As soon as you've got new people in there and you just say, well, heroes enable the lane in terms of colors.
Yeah, we just hate change.
Old
Yeah.
heads.
Fill us in about the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, Nine Armada and Knick-Knack have been running small and big tournaments. Like, we even had some prize pools going. That was really cool. And without those...
I saw there was a $500 draft tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty exciting.
And without those tournaments, I really believe that those tournaments were extremely important for testing the game and for defining the meta and telling Valve where to go with it. I really think that the efforts of the active testing community has really defined the direction of where Artifact is going. And I think the people who have organized that, you know who you are, and I have mentioned you. You can be proud of yourselves and just keep on keeping on. I'm looking forward to more tournaments in the new year. Seriously. Props.
Yeah. Really
And
cool.
speaking of enabling archetypes, Valve has also implemented factions. Like there are now more tribal keywords in Artifact, especially concerning the first set with the Battle of Roseleaf. There's now the Vul Rebellion, there's the Red Mist, and the Bronze Legion, and there's cards which enable those factions, you know, giving them tribal bonuses. And those, you know, are extremely fun, and I always consider these kind of tribal keywords to be an entry point for new players to get into deck building, because that's like the first thing that a new player will notice on a card. It's like, oh, this one buffs all the Bronze Legion cards. I guess I should just put all of those in a deck, and it will be something that resembles synergy.
Everybody wants to... They get in the game and they're like, I want to make
Yeah.
a Greevil deck.
Exactly.
See how that works out. But
Yeah, and now it's not just Greevils, now it's actually semi-viable, maybe. Like, it will still have to be adjusted, but there's definitely some cool stuff going on, even in terms of flavor. There is one pair of cards in the Vul Rebellion, which is very funny to me, where a bunch of unarmed civilians have the death effect that they turn into an angry mob when you kill them. And the art...
they've all got like cute little werewolf art and stuff.
Literally like JPEG dog heads. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I love them so much. So, and then they just went, okay, so this is what we did. So don't tell us we only did some balance changes. We did a ton of things. So where are we going now? And that's when they're talking about the tutorial that has recently dropped, which still needs a couple changes. It could be a little clearer. I'm still forming my opinions on the tutorial because I already broke a couple of the missions. For example, the shop tutorial. If you are a stubborn person who doesn't want to listen to the tooltips, you can literally just pass again and again, and you will pass the tutorial without ever even buying an item in the tutorial for buying items. So that one's sadly a failure.
Finding
Exactly, finding some bugs, but like, it will need some changes, because right now the tutorial is very basic. It is like the typical, here's some tooltips hovering to tell you, you now need to use this card on that card, otherwise you can't progress. And I don't know, like those types of ultra guided tutorials are just not engaging to me, and I know for a fact that they are not engaging for a lot of new players. I've had someone without experience test the tutorial as well. I think I will be writing an email on the whole experience later on. But the summary is that the person I had playing the tutorial got frustrated with it before, like by reaching the 3rd level basically, and then just gave up on it already. Because it's just like, I just don't want to read speech bubbles and then just put that card over there, nobody else, like no creativity allowed, like I'm being treated like a monkey pressing buttons, right? I know that you have to be strict sometimes when teaching games, but I feel like I think there's still better ways to teach some of these mechanics. I'm still going to think about that a little while. But
it's only just come out though, right? There's lots of room for it to. It's a basis. That won't be.
Yeah, but I think result. Number one is not making the tutorial a must. Like, do you know those games? You start them the first time, they just drop you into the tutorial. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, forced tutorials are
don't
not
do that.
Nice.
Just leave it as an option for people, because there's definitely people who literally just want to go into the card collection or like go against people right away.
Also, men hate following directions.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like you know, I'm the flavor guy. I'm a lore lover, so I would love to have a bit of flavor on the tutorial as well.
Yeah, when's the card lore coming?
Yeah,
that'll be last. That's not coming anytime soon. That'll come with the polish. That's part of polish, isn't it?
I would say so. Yeah. I had actually made a suggestion in the Discord that I would love the tutorial to be about the leader of the House of the Cunning teaching you as a new member, and at the end, very end, you get to play a real artifact match. At least the instructor says so, right? So you get to try your hand at changing history for real now as your final test of the tutorial. And this is when you have the Sisters of the Veil murder Quertheus as like your final action in the tutorial. And for those who've read the comics, they will already know that this makes you the person who kicks off everything. Like, I would love it if by playing the tutorial, you're the one who fucks up the timeline and basically causes the Battle of Roseleaf by having the sisters murder Quertheus.
Man.
I got goosebumps. That's such a good idea.
I would love it. Great. I would love it.
So what I liked most about this blog post was that they're like talking about their goals and their plans. Mm-hmm. Like when we had weekly blog posts on the Moon Day posts when they came out, it was nice because we had constant progression, and then it just in the nature of how they were working on things, they had so much to share with us at that time, and then the blog posts stopped happening, and so some people got the feeling that there wasn't as much going on, or they cared less, and everybody puts their own personal bias on it, and it's hard. It's nice to see that they, like, what the specific goals they're working on right now, and that, like, we have some issues with there not being much of a player base at the moment, and so that putting people off, and that is a separate goal that they're going to work on after they've worked on tutorials and polish and the other parts they outlined. So I don't know, for me that made a really big difference, seeing that, hey, like, we know what we're doing, we have a plan, this is what the plan looks like, and I really like that. and seeing more of where it's going and seeing the bigger picture and that they are invested in that regardless of what anybody else thinks.
I think this blog post was exactly what the community needed to feel reassured that Valve is not just, here's a couple patches for a potential 2.0, but I guess nobody's interested, so let's just not update it anymore. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I think Valve is very much set on releasing a new version of Artifact to the public. Period.
And giving it a full go, regardless.
Like, they're calling it a big push.
It's weird though that some people just picked out certain lines of it and didn't read it properly and then got upset about it. Like, I don't know. I feel like so many people missed the point on this article, and it's a little frustrating.
Gamers' reading comprehension is frustratingly low. Jesus Christ.
Be nice, Simon.
I know.
Be nice.
I'm saying
We're
reading
all
comprehension. I'm not saying anything about IQs. No, but I know what you're referring to.
I think them doing some group playtests on like specific times is a wonderful idea, because I think there's a lot of people that have played it and like the game and are not right now just because either there's a lot of changes or they're waiting for polish or there's not enough people. Having group playtests at certain times, like, there is a community of people willing and interested to play, and so if we had like weekends or days or whatever, sort of like the early Runeterra test things, like maybe obviously less serious than that or less polished than that, but I think that's a really great idea to get centralized feedback, and I'd be really excited to participate in those.
Yeah, definitely.
For the meantime, during this period where they're still working on stuff.
Definitely. A lot of people were afraid that this means they're going to stop experimenting, that like the design of the game is settling and they're just gonna throw some polish on and push it out the door. Which is why I'm so happy that just a couple days later, alongside the tutorial, they pushed out the items experiment. Just to prove to people that no, we are not in fact done with experiments, just as they actually write in the blog post as well. We expect we are a few months away from slowing down constant changes to cards, game rules, and balance. At that point... They even wrote it bold, but whatever.
Yeah, they're not close to done. The list of things was what they want to be accomplished before they start polishing
at that point.
It. And so they're saying, hey, we've got a while still.
At that point, we expect to spend more of our effort on UI, UX, and all the many features listed above as we head on our road to open beta and eventual release. Which, by the way, they are not comfortable talking about yet, obviously. They're still far enough away that they don't want to give even a year. I mean, I fully expect open beta next year, but release, like full-on release 2.0, perhaps not.
Is it relevant?
It's not.
Like, Dota was in beta for years.
Exactly.
We just want it at a stage where it's playable and there's in-game tournament function and a player base. And when they're ready to say it's ready, then that's
exactly.
separate.
And I mean, I'll be playing it along the way as well. So something they're looking forward to, is apart from like more tutorial features and like UI improvements to make things clearer, they're also talking about how they want progression to be happening on several levels, which is something we actually discussed on the podcast, how progression shouldn't just be like the one pathway. They're saying they want bot games, for example, to be just as rewarding. So people who are not comfortable with being thrown to the sharks right away, they can like spend hours upon hours testing on bots.
Also, they're adding more game modes,
Exactly, yeah.
right? Before
Yeah.
Polish is ready. That's one of the
they're
next
saying
goals.
that an advanced version of Hero Draft will likely be next on the list. Is that something?
What about
Whatever that
regular
means.
draft?
Well, what's regular anymore, right? That's what I've been thinking, actually.
Yeah.
The one from
Yeah.
Artifact 1.
Obviously. But does that still make sense for 2.0 is a question we may have to ask ourselves.
People ask me that
Mhm.
as a draft player too, like if I'm concerned that they haven't clearly said, hey, we're going to make 1.0 draft and 2.0. I'm like, draft is just a variety of play
Yeah.
from constructed, and all sorts of variants of constructed appeal to me, or like variants that aren't constructed appeal to me. I think, like, yes, I have some emotional attachment to old draft mode, but there's lots of really exciting ways to do draft modes that are really interesting. I have absolutely no concerns about what game modes they release. I'm confident that there will be a few different ones, and I'm confident that some of them I will like that aren't constructed.
Anger,
I don't think it's really
Yeah.
a problem.
are you looking forward to the prospect of an advanced Hero Draft at all? Or really?
Not really. Because I never really liked Hero Draft.
See,
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know
liked it
what
at the
that.
start for learning the game, but I preferred constructed as soon as I
Alright.
got all the cards.
Is Advanced Hero Draft not just old draft? Wouldn't it just be heroes and cards? Is that not
Oh.
sort
mean,
of draft?
some-
Like, I don't know what to make of
well,
it.
that's
precisely.
the thing, right? We don't quite know what that means, but from what I expect, it is much closer to Hero Draft, where you are actually like in a room with a person, like drafting against each other. Because in the old regular draft, you were kind of like alone, opening packs of random cards that some players in the void have taken from you. But this advanced mode might actually be a more engaging and social version of draft, where you are like in a room with a guy or person.
So this was something I think that was missing in Artifact 1, is that there was no way to do competitive drafting, where you couldn't have card packs in the same pool within a tournament, and you couldn't do 1v1s where you were going back and forth from a pack, which would have added another level of depth and complexity and fun. To me, Advanced Hero Draft just sounds like Artifact 1 draft, but you're against it's head-to-head. It's 1 versus 1 drafting, which is really cool, because then different cards are going to have different value every single time based on the pack. Like, if you I can't make up good examples right now, but say in Artifact 1, if you saw Conflag, then an Enchantress is going to be better against Conflag, or a Tinker or something. Where, like, even in current Hero Draft, you pick your heroes based on what your opponent's heroes are. Picking your cards based on what your opponent's cards are, and knowing what cards they've taken to an extent is such a huge aspect of that. And so this sounds like it sounds better than 1.0 draft, and it sounds significantly better than Hero Draft. It sounds like the best combination of them. This is, like, putting some thought into it sounds really exciting to me. But they didn't explain that at all, and you could just be like, Advanced Hero Draft? The fuck is that? I don't even care about Hero Draft. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
And now
We gotta
imagine
wait.
having a little side deck of cards you want to discard, where you have the ability to basically ban cards for your opponent by simply taking them yourself, much like you are able to do now in Hero Draft, where you have one discard spot basically for a hero you don't want, where you can deny a hero to go to your opponent. Imagine being able to do that throughout the entire drafting process.
Like, where you draft 6 and your opponent doesn't quite know what you're going to do. You haven't decided the game until you pick them and you start playing. And Yeah, I love it.
And it's like, oh, you picked Meepo? I think this annihilation will not go to you. Thank you very much.
And then they don't even play the Meepo, and
Yeah.
playing it.
Just a blue. Exactly. So yeah, they basically dropped the whole roadmap all the way to open beta on us, which is very exciting. I mean, I like playing the game in the state that it is right now. I am probably my biggest worry currently is color identity, actually. Because I feel like with the way that 2.0 is right now, it's kind of hard to balance out the colors, especially now that any hero can cast any color, provided that they have another hero of that color in the lane. I mean, that has allowed for a lot of super fun combinations where you can put certain certain colored enchantments on a hero of a different color. This has enabled some really fun combinations. But on the other hand, it's hard to balance out colors and give them an identity without giving them weaknesses that feel too punishing. You don't want to go back to the 1.0 way of balancing heroes, for example, where it's this hero is a big boy. He has a wonderful body, so his 3 signature cards feel like trash in your hand. We don't want to go back to that. But you basically have to give the colors flavor rather than just, if you look at red and they're like warriors, but you don't want to make their spells feel like trash. So right now they're doing stuff where a lot of the removal you have in red actually requires a battle to take place between heroes, right? While other cards other colors like blue or black have more direct removal. The biggest problem right now is that blue is way too versatile. It kind of has answers to most situations.
Isn't that the strength of blue, that it's versatile?
Perhaps, but
is that not part of the archetype?
Should it be? Should it be like the jack of all trades?
I see what you're saying, though, that it shouldn't have the strength.
So I think, but that stuff is adjustable, and they have been removing certain tools from blue, like objective vision and another one I'm forgetting, which turned blues into warriors, basically. So that's definitely something that Valve is aware of.
They seem intent on keeping themes, even if they're a little muddled right now. That is something they seem focused on.
Is there something you guys are looking forward to on our road to open beta? What is your number one feature?
I want focused playtests so that people that have been taking a break can play. And I want... I mean,
tournaments!
Polish seems... I want that, but that is dependent on how many people are there. And so I want something else that initiates a big wave of people starting to come back, which I think is going to be Polish, is what is going to be necessary. Because for so many people, they can't feel into it if they don't.
Which I'm surprised by, to be honest.
And the art is so pretty. So
the art that's been going on.
You can't... Logically, it doesn't make sense, but that is the reality of it.
I personally was surprised by that. I mean, there's people playing chess, right? And that's just some figures. And I'm just surprised by how many people...
Oh, but have you ever played chess on, Have you ever played chess on a nice marble board? It is so much nicer. Or, with fancy wood-carved pieces. It's so much nicer than just, Playing chess with a set that is hideous is not the same. I'm not saying Artifact is hideous. I'm just...
No, but I noticed the same thing because I was watching some LOR because I have some friends who would play LOR. And just the art and the animations and everything, it makes such a difference. Even though I didn't know what was going on.
really important.
Yeah, it is extremely important. I was perhaps just surprised by how many people falsely like make a connection between how the game looks and what the progress is like. Like, I mean, now they've pushed some more polished art into the game, right? To mark this little milestone with this blog post and the patch that came afterwards. But there were people who like genuinely believed like nothing's changed, like the game still looks the same, as if nothing changed internally because of that. But you're right, like polish is extremely important, and I guess I just have only been playing chess with plastic pieces so far, so I wouldn't know.
I thought I didn't care, and they released this post, and I can't get over the art. Like they're all so amazing and have such character and emotion, and I don't know. I thought I didn't care, and I care.
Yeah.
God, the team fight art is wonderful.
That's my desktop.
Oh yeah,
background
right away.
Yeah, immediately it had to be.
Like that one actually reminds me so much of old school Dota with a capital A, the loading screens they had for the original mod.
Even like Dota 2 loading screens.
Yeah.
Like if you ever go look through your loading screens, we've got like 100 or 200 loading screens from all the different sets that came with one, and looking through them, just the art is fantastic. It's very reminiscent.
Sadly, I got an SSD for my birthday, so I don't see them anymore.
Yeah. I also have that problem. Slumbering Brute's little courier teddy, and the Quicksap Sproutling.
Yeah, literally Baby
we must
Groot.
protect her with our life.
Baby Groot.
Everything is so good. I can't get over them.
Especially like the fact that there's 3 different Eidolons for Vanessa's Void Theft exchange.
And there's 3 different times.
Yeah, that as well. Like with every time he grows.
Wait. The Eidolons, I think that's because that's the one I didn't like, because they don't look anything like the Eidolons in Dota 2.
Well, because not all Eidolons come from Enigma. Right? The idea
but every Eidolon looks the same to you, Anger?
The idea here is that like Eidolons are like their own little creature.
What did you say?
I said every Eidolon looks the same to you.
So I'm looking forward to that, because like one of them seems to have fins. Like,
it makes sense though, because in Underlords as well, like different heroes have different, or not different Eidolons, but they used to have Eidolons. They don't anymore.
I'm ready for some Eidolon.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if they're connected.
Maybe it's just a kind of extraterrestrial.
Perhaps they come from the void.
Extra, whatever.
Would make sense.
Yeah, void beings.
Speaking of lore and this art, Morphling Whelp. Can we just focus on Morphling Whelp for just a moment?
Oh, let me look it up. What it looks like. I forget.
Is this supposed to be just an offspring of Morphling, or just one of his kind that's younger, or is this literally Morphling when he was still like finding his identity? Like, is this baby Morphling? Well, look at him. He's so fucking weird.
There's no way that...
I have no idea what we're looking at.
Like, he's got kind of a fish head. He has, like, Storm Spirit's belt. Looks like Rubik's hood.
Maybe it's because Morphling, he came from a comet, right?
Yeah,
he's an alien. So maybe the Morphling whelp is just of the same kind and also came from space.
But point being that this is what Morphling used to look like when he was still changing from one role to the next. Like,
I don't think Morphling's even a dude. Doesn't Morphling have no gender because they're just water blob?
Well, supposedly.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, so this might be what they look like when they are still like in their juvenile state, and they're just changing from one role of the battlefield to the next. Because like the whole point of Morphling is that he kind of crashed with his little meteor onto a battlefield where he assumed like the identities of like a foot soldier, an archer, a legionnaire, and then like all the way up to the general, having played like every role there is on the battlefield, and then stood alone on top, blah blah blah, right? So this
I love
yeah.
every piece of art here. They're each unique and wonderful, and somehow they don't seem to be from different universes or something. Like something to do with the art style, it feels like it's all in the same place. And I really like it.
I mean, this is what
sometimes in games, especially card games, every artist has their own unique style, and there will be no stylistic overlap whatsoever. This is kind of really interesting that all the stuff we see could be in the same place and is not that, like, I don't know how
I understand what you're saying. This is like what I suppose this is what the art director is in charge of, right? Keeping everything just consistent enough, but still allowing every artist to bring something of their own spin to it. God, yeah.
I really like
Berserker of the Abysm, like looks straight
That's what I
out
was
of
just
Lord of
looking
the
at.
Rings or something.
Oh, such a Chad.
I really
Thing's
like
fucking
Specs
spooky.
Carapace. It looks
Yeah.
terrifying.
I
Imagine
know.
having a bug
Nyx
that
is
big
so
come at
spooky.
you.
Yeah, it's horrifying. I'm always just like, oh, cute little Nyx.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah.
especially since he's been so wimpy in Dota for the
Yeah.
recent few years.
Oh man. And now just imagine voice acting. Please, please, please.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? I'm like shitting on people who are like, oh, who needs polish? Just play the game as it is. And here I am, like, salivating over the art and just looking forward to the voice acting. Like, nobody can deny the allure of polish, obviously. Like, I never said anything negative.
I'm sure we had whole episodes before where we said we loved the current art and
Yeah,
didn't care at
exactly.
all. But we were wrong.
Oh god, exposing ourselves as such hipsters.
Man, Death Prophet looks way different in Artifact than Dota.
Oh, I love like the sharp edges.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, the sharp edges, and she's so narrow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Which is like one of the examples where the art is very much different from much of the other art. Like just look at Tiny and how rounded everything is there, right? But still everything fits, like art. And yeah, Imperia, right? Just queen.
Ugh.
Queen!
Yeah,
So many
I'm
art
holding up.
fight bits.
I'm holding. I'm holding back other comments. I very much appreciate that piece of art. Yes.
Time for a new tattoo.
God. See, like there's two kinds of people, right? There's like people who wait for years before they get their tattoo because they really want it to mean something, and then there's people just tattooing memes onto their sleeve and like all across their back. Like,
You've got
Yeah.
one skin bag for life. Just
wow.
enjoy it.
That's one way
Yeah.
to look at it.
Honestly.
I envy
I
people with tattoos.
appreciate both
I
of those
do.
types of people.
Sorry, Kiwi.
I'm more the first group, the wait and get the perfect one. But I aspire to be the
Yeah,
second
right.
group.
Yeah, same. Exactly same.
Those are the
for me.
people living.
I think it's so cool when people have like just random shit on their arm and they're like, oh yeah, I went to the tattoo shop and just saw one I liked right there and took it.
I had a good weekend with my friends and we did these stick and pokes.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
I wish
yeah.
I was
But
spontaneous
Kiwi,
like
the
that.
important question is it gonna be a gamer tattoo?
No, it'd be like a full leg
Right.
piece of like where anybody can appreciate it.
That's nice.
Probably. Except tattoos hurt so much. I don't. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing problem.
I have one at the back
Really?
of my neck. That was, yeah, it was
May
super
I ask
painful.
what it is?
Like against the bone.
May I ask what it
Huh?
is? Oh, here's a little special for our video watchers, by the way. Check us out on YouTube. Lean
see
back
it?
a little.
Illuminati.
Like lean back in terms of angle. Ah, nice.
That must have hurt so
you see
Yeah,
much.
it?
it's an eye, correct?
No,
What?
wait, is there more than one? Does it go down?
There's 3.
There's 3? No, we can only see
okay,
one.
now we can see the rest.
Ooh, I like that one.
Oh, grant us
Cool.
eyes, grant us eyes.
So it was so fucking painful. It was against the bone, and there's thin skin there, and it was just, it was hell on earth. But it only took like 10 minutes though, so it wasn't that bad.
Damn, impressive.
Yeah. I don't have the pain tolerance, but I need to be covered
Mm-hmm.
in tattoos.
Yeah. So, apart from scarring our bodies for life, yeah, I'm really looking forward to future changes, especially now that, like, not just polish, but many other changes are, like, within grasp on the horizon. Like, changes are coming, and the game will just improve massively from here, especially once the experiments are done and gameplay has settled, which is an exciting process in its own right, really. I'm glad that I'm part of this little journey. So, any other closing thoughts of what you guys are looking forward to, apart from polish?
Not for me.
Tournament mode, yeah. Just that, definitely. Advanced
Yeah.
draft looks interesting, if it is what I think it is.
Yeah, get some community
Exactly.
going on a daily basis.
I think,
Or like, not that there isn't community in the Discord, but just in another setting.
yeah.
Maybe more artifact personalities. Like, there's us, and there's Nine, there's Knick-Knack,
Yeah.
and there's like a bunch of others. But other than Knick-Knack, is there any new person, like big person, or not big? Nobody's big in artifact.
The Long
but-
Hauler has made a video recently summarizing
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, I saw
update,
that.
which is very nice. Keep going at it. And everyone else, just put out some gameplay videos. Seriously, game capture is not that hard. You can just put yourselves out there. You never know who will enjoy it.
Yeah, I watch whatever gets posted on the Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or on the Reddit.
yeah,
and
post some content.
I think that stuff will develop naturally with
Yeah.
time anyway. It's
Make love, not hate, on the subreddit. I'd love that. So, as we put our foot out the door, I would like to thank our producer MEGARAMMY, also on Twitter, of course, and just one more shout out to Nine, Knick-Knack, and Cauliflower, who has made the number one database for 2.0 cards. It's updated very quickly.
It's been out since
Yeah,
the first
it's
week.
updated really quickly after patches, to the point where whenever a patch drops and it isn't updated like 30 minutes later, everyone's just adding Cauliflower and Dr. Quint to update that website, because I don't know why. Like, we could all just open the game and look through the collection, but for some reason it's just so much faster and available when everyone just uses it in their browser. So, good job on that. So, just put stuff out there, guys. Where can people find your content, Anger? You've been making a couple videos, haven't you?
Yeah, you can find me on youtube.com/angermania. I make lore videos about heroes in the Dota universe, which includes Artifact. And
Yeah, you made a Christmas special as well, didn't you?
yeah, or I made that actually like
Ah.
3 years ago, and then I reposted it like 2 years ago, and then now I reposted it again, but with new videos
That
every
is how
time.
Christmas traditions are born. Exactly. So if you
Exactly.
want,
It's part of the
if
Christmas
you want to keep
spirit.
the Christmas spirit alive into the new year, if you're that kind of person who keeps the Christmas tree up until the end of January, I love it. Okay, I love Christmas. Then you can go to Angus' channel and check that out. KIWI, you've been streaming more frequently again now and then.
On and off. Yeah. I'm on Twitch at KIWI_streaming. There may be some tabletop board game sessions or some more Slay the Spire or possibly some Dota streams if it grabs me. And if there's Dota streams, there'll be lots of them. Anyway, but trying to do some streaming anyway, even if not consistently.
Board games are nice. People need more board games in their lives, especially this year. Just get yourself some tabletop sim and meet some people. We all need a little, we all need a little closeness, even digitally. So.
Or you might find some lessons of Dota with CYMEN on there.
Maybe. Right. We'll see.
Oh, on your stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes! Stream the coaching sessions.
I was doing some Dota lesson coaching, and I was streaming them, but the VODs didn't save, so anyway.
Will CYMEN expose himself like this? Find out next time on the Secret Shop podcast.
Actually, we'd probably have our viewer base.
Probably. So, so you can find me just on Twitter at CYMEN90, where I post about updates that Valve does, even some other games. Now and then some politics slip in there, but feel free to ignore that. It's gonna be over soon. So thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Thank you for your business.
We hope you've enjoyed our return. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Come again!
Bye.
Peace.